Hello, my name is Miguel D'Souza and welcome to today's Google News Initiative training. Today we're going to be looking at analytics for journalists, but before we begin, I would very much like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of these lands on which we meet and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and community. I pay my respects to them and their cultures and to elders past, present and emerging. My name is Miguel D'Souza. I'm Google's News Teaching Fellow for 2021 and 22. I'm a journalist and teacher trainer. I've been putting out news since 1994 for companies like AAP, news.com.au, 7 News and SBS. I'll share my details with you on screen. There's my email address and my Twitter handle. And look, thank you very much for joining us today. We will go through and look at your questions if you have any in the chat box at the end. Google aims to support quality journalism to help evolve new business models for the industry and deliver technological solutions for the media. Google develops tools to support journalists at all levels of the industry. And that's why today we're looking at tool sets to help you understand a little bit more about web traffic, perhaps to your website or to your stories. But certainly you can find out a lot more about the Google News Initiative there. While I've got you, I may also tell you a little bit about the Journalist Studio. It contains a whole suite of tools to help journalists work in a secure, safe, and encrypted environment. It's an essential toolkit of reporting resources like Pinpoint and Google Trends, but it's also got crucial tools for safe and secure reporting like Project Shield, Outline, and the Advanced Protection Program. But today, we're going to look at the area of analytics and why they're a useful resource in reporting, but also in getting your website and the stories you want to your users. A little bit of a background. The Reuters Institute on Journalism, Media and Technology Trends, published in January this year, found that analytics and audience insights were actually a key driver in innovation and new ideas within the newsrooms that were surveyed. Reuters sampled their data from a survey of around 200 media leaders in 43 countries for their report. But there's always a concern about whether the shaping of an editorial mix to suit audience numbers alone is compromising journalism. That's certainly a discussion that comes up in many newsrooms around the subject of metrics and analytics and exactly how much the newsroom should follow these. Analytics tools should always be seen as an aid to journalistic judgment and an indication of where to put your resources in a commercial content environment, not for telling you what to write or publish. So here's an example of how changing conditions in specifically COVID have in fact affected had an effect rather on how people read stories online. Analytics company Chartbeat found that the desktop usage spiked overall as people spend more time at home. Pre-pandemic article reading habits on mobile may have shifted to desktop during this period. The consequence? Longer reads, accommodating for desktop, a few old things have become new again. Let's have a look at another example. Here's another chart. In fact, reader engagement across the world has changed during the pandemic and lockdown. Here's another Chartbeat slide. Just 3 years ago, this shows that across the world, people spent more time reading further into articles. And this also surged in Africa, Latin America, and Central Asia. These are areas traditionally which have a high mobile impact rather than desktop. Just 3 years ago, Chartbeat found 55% of people who click through to content actually read it. What a complete turnaround. So you can see how keeping track of your audience keeping track of how your audience uses your content can really help open up your site to users. So let's have a look at some Google data tools. I'll just put the URL up on screen so that you can use it. Google has built a series of free analytics tools to help publishers of all scales grow reader engagement by actioning the traffic data you see on your website. I'll go into more detail with all of these, but we're going to take a look at 3 tools which will help. We're going to look at the new, which will allow publishers to maximize the value of Google Analytics and optimize data collection. We'll also look at real-time content insights, which helps newsrooms make better decisions for their content creation and distribution strategies. And finally, news consumer insights, which aims at helping news and magazine publishers grow loyalty and their subscriptions. The News Tagging Guide is a new tool designed to help publishers make the most of Google Analytics by defining the engagement metrics that matter for audience and revenue growth. This free tool allows news organizations to easily identify the most important audience engagement metrics to measure, simplify technical implementation as the News Tagging Guide generates the necessary tags, unlock new audience insights in Google Analytics, and in close collaboration with publishers, Google's identified the right engagement metrics to measure. Within the tool, they're segmented into 3 categories. Video analytics, where publishers can measure how audiences are consuming videos on their sites, from actions like click to play to viewing milestones like completion. You can also look at user engagement, where publishers can measure new and user engagement metrics on their site with their marketing channels. Examples include scrolling and social sharing, as well as newsletter signups and registrations. Now, you would know that obviously scrolling would allow you to keep track of things like the growth in scrolling deeper into articles during the pandemic. It can also help you keep track of reader revenue. Publishers with reader revenue models, such as subscriptions and members, can measure events to better identify readers who have subscribed or contributed to their site. Now, while NTG can be used on its own, we designed the tool as a companion to NCI and RCI. The new engagement data measure unlocks new insights in NCI and RCI 2.0. Now, Google's teams have built tools to help you understand what your user is doing and how you can better serve them. For journalists, the most important of these is real-time content insights. So let's have a look at it. The News Consumer Insights is completely free to use, and it's been designed with simplicity in mind. The only thing you'll need to use the tool is an email address associated with your Google Analytics account. So how do you navigate on the NCI front end? Well, authorize the tool to get access to your Google Analytics data, connect your Google Analytics account and visit the Settings tab. The left navigation bar will take you through the Insights panels, 4 Insights pages, covered by News Consumer Insights. These are your actionable recommendations, reader engagement, reader revenue, and video insights. Transition. Let's take a closer look at the Actionable Recommendations tab. At the top of the page, you'll find our NCI funnel. Will help you identify how much each audience segment is contributing to your site in terms of ad revenue. Now, here's where the magic happens. NCI's decision engine will deliver personalized recommendations based on the publisher Google Analytics data to help improve your reader engagement, reader revenue, and capture better data. Now let's look at the NCI recommendations populated for this sample publisher. As you can see, the NCI has pulled out a list of 8 recommendations to improve reader engagement for this publisher. These recommendations are grouped by the more visits, longer visits, etc. stuff. Now, if you click into one of the NCI recommendations here, like newsletter, it'll call up a virtual card, which includes things like a ranked list of specified actionable optimizations, a visual listing these optimizations, and a Learn More button, which will redirect users to specific NCI content. Now, playbook chapters will provide additional sort of best practice content for you. So it's a bit of a learning exercise and a learning tool as you go as well. You'll notice that other personalized recommendations that will help you grow your reader revenue and capture better data as well. This page populates based on your selection of a Google Analytics goal in your Settings tab. If you don't have any goals selected, the title of the tab will be red. This could be any type of goal that allows you to track what you define as a conversion on your site, such as new subscriptions, new contributions, donations, an affiliate link, newsletter signups, even ad block whitelisting. It can also be a pure reader engagement goal, like a user who has read more than 5 articles or 5 videos. If you don't have any goals implemented yet and you wish to see reader revenue recommendations, Google will give you an option to populate these in the actionable recommendations tab. Now, the insights you'll find are primarily focused on conversion rate optimization approach. The goal of this report is to allow you to quickly identify where you should focus your resources in order to grow traffic that might have an above average conversion rate, conversion performance on the ones that are driving the most volume of conversions. Let's have a look at each of those in detail. Now, once you've set your goal, NCI populates with your conversion rate metrics. The first section of this report will highlight the average profile of your converters. Average reader persona like demographics, device, traffic source. Average user engagement levels, visits per reader, pages per visit, etc. And then you can compare. Oops. Let me just go backwards. And then you can compare your converters profile with your casual, loyal, and brand lover to better identify which group is converting the most. Once again, your top line insight card in the left column pulls out overall metrics to help you gain a high-level overview of conversions. Now, if you go down the page, you'll start seeing Google's conversion rate analysis, starting with total conversions, your conversion rates, and breakdowns by desktop, tablet, and mobile. This information can help you understand where your conversions are coming from at a very high level and what might be worth investing in. In this example, mobile conversion rate is 7 times the desktop conversion rate. That means we might want to invest a bit more in our desktop landing page. Let's look at the chart below this section to understand which traffic sources our converters are coming from. The chart breaks down total completions in the green bars compared with conversion rate, which is the red line. If you hover over the chart with your mouse, you'll see the absolute numbers and percentages for that traffic source. For instance, for this partner, it's clear that affiliates have by far the highest conversion rate, but aren't a huge number of our total conversions. We might want to invest a bit more in our affiliate programs. In this section, you'll have a more granular view of your performance metrics as we've segmented your readers per device, traffic source, and user type. Now, this report will help you to better understand which specific audiences are overperforming or underperforming. Again, the top line insight card on the left provides you with guidance on what you should do with this data. You can use the drop-downs to filter by device, user type, traffic, or paywall, and scroll through more pages of data by clicking the arrows on the bottom right corner. Finally, in the last section, you'll notice we introduced the concept of market research via Google surveys. This shows a sample survey question that you could ask users to better understand why or why not they convert. Using surveys can also help provide context and nuance to your reader revenue strategy and can help inform future editorial decisions. Crucially, if you're a small publisher looking for knowledge on how to expand your reach and audience, Google has its own expert specially for you. That's the Google News Publishing Fellow. It's a unique position. It's a 12-month fellowship with a clear goal to help local, regional, and small publishers build stronger businesses through training and support. Get in touch with Neil Varco, who's NewsLab Publishing Fellow at Australia and New Zealand, at the email address that you can see below there. Now, one more mention for another really important Google product, and that is the g.co News Training Center, you can sign up for all sorts of courses right up to the minute with all of the latest of Google's tools, including any of the ones that I've covered today. It's a training website which will allow you at your own pace to learn about elements of digital journalism, from finding and verifying content to visualizing stories on the web, and also some of the more commercial aspects of operating in this environment. Finally, I would encourage you to get in touch at the email address that is there on screen. I'll just pop that up for you, and please do get in touch if you would like to have any training in your newsroom from either myself, Miguel D'Souza, or Neil Farco if you are a publisher. And I will just pop that up on screen right there. So please get in touch. But for now, many thanks, and it has been a real pleasure, and we'll catch you next time for another Google News Initiative live session.